Northern View Outdoors presents Lowe's Whitetail Deer Scents. Man, wasn't that some amazing footage? Well, those deer were filmed last season when we were using Lowe's Whitetail deer scent. And I know a lot of you guys are already thinking right now, deer scent's deer scent. You can get deer pee from any place and it's the same stuff. Well, I'm here today to tell you guys that that's not the case. And one of the first ones I want to talk to you about is buck butter. Okay, buck butter is a bedding scent. And what he does is he actually takes a deer, puts him on a mat, and actually gets the deer wet. Because normally you don't smell the deer until they get wet. Just like if you had if you had a dog, you don't smell the dog until it gets wet. So that's what he does with this buck butter. So he gets all the odors from the deer onto this mat and collects the urine with it as well and mixes it and puts it in this bottle. And just not like any regular deer scent. This is not good for just 3 or 4 days or weeks or whatever. This thing's good for season to season, guys. So you can use it like we did for our whole archery season, from the very beginning of it all the way to the end, all the way in January. And this stuff's still good. And now what he's doing is he actually vacuum seals these containers, which makes the deer scent actually last longer, up to 3 years. So that's a great value for any hunter that wants to prolong his deer scents. So what I'm going to do right now is, to show you how good and effective this stuff is, I'm going to show you one of my hunts that I had using the buck butter. We got an evening hunt here. It's nice and warm, about maybe 50s, 60s, And prime location. I got a bedding area just off to my left, a little bit behind me here. So it's a good place for me to use the buck butter from Rick Lowe's Whitetail scents. So hopefully that'll make a deer interested that's coming into the area. So hopefully I'm looking for a doe. It's a little warm for a buck, so I'm looking for a doe. But if a nice sized buck comes in here, I'll try to take a pass, try to take a shot at him, see how lucky I get, but here's hoping. Now in this hunt, I seen this doe come in, and it was a yearling. I wasn't even going to shoot at it to begin with. I knew that right off the bat when I seen the size of the deer. But as she was coming in, I noticed that she was acting a little peculiar, and something just wasn't right to her. And I thought maybe she was catching my wind or whatever. But as she was coming in, I noticed that she wasn't even looking my direction whatsoever. So as you can see right there, she's not even looking at me whatsoever. She is looking at the direction where the buck butter is sitting on a log. And, and then she started stomping her feet at it. And I thought, well, maybe this is actually spooking the deer. So I actually called Rick and asked him and told him the situation, what happened. And he said, no, it wasn't spooking the deer, but that doe actually smelled that deer, but couldn't see it. So what she wanted to do is find out where that deer was at. So I was like, okay, well, that's great. Especially, if you have a monster buck come in, about as close as that, he's paying more attention to that deer scent than of me. So then you can get ready to make those killer shots. And that is exactly what you need to be doing. pretty good. Those does came in here. I think one of them was a button buck, so I didn't shoot it. That other doe I was going to, but she never gave me the chance. Oh well, I tell you what, that buck butter really had them puzzled, didn't it? They were all the way around here and stomping. They didn't quite sure what it was, but that was fine. Another great scent that Rick provides is called Suicide Buck, and which is the doe estrus pea. And just like I'm thinking everybody else is going to be saying, well, doe pea's doe pea. I can get doe heat pea anywhere. So what makes his so special? And I'll tell you exactly what makes the Suicide Buck so special. What he does is he actually takes the urine from the doe when she's in estrus. But one thing that he does that nobody else does, and this is patent pending, is he actually tranquilizes the doe when she's in estrus using all the proper regulations and everything, and actually takes a double Q-tip and goes inside the doe and gets vaginal secretions from that doe from both sides and actually puts it inside the bottle. So, I mean, that's, gives it the most freshest smell of hot doe you could possibly get, and it just drives bucks mad. If you want any more proof, take a look at this footage that I have when I was using Suicide Buck and buck butter. Well, I already knew that I wasn't going to shoot this buck. It was kind of small, and I knew I didn't want to take that kind of a small buck. I wanted to let him grow, and I just wanted to see what he would do. And so he kept coming in, and next thing you know, bam, he sticks his nose right into this Suicide Buck that I had hanging in a tree. And he just nosing around it like crazy. I was like, geez, this stuff is really, really good. And so he hung around there for a little while, and then he started to walk away. And then as he's walking away, I had some buck butter about maybe 15 yards away from where the Suicide Buck was. And he just walked right next to it, and he got a whiff of it, and bam, he just sticks his nose right into it too. So, I mean, you don't have to use one or the other. I mean, using them as a combination is a great way to get a lot of buck activity, because I mean, especially when they're in rut, a doe would go into a bedding area, and a lot of bucks go to bedding areas looking to jump up hot doe, and if you combine those two, who knows what you're going to see. I mean, just like right there, I mean, it was a smaller buck, but it was great to see, and also, I mean, what are the chances? I mean, next time I use that, it might be a monster buck. So, I mean, the chances are possibly on your side. I tell you what, with the amount of footage that we've shown you today about how good Lowe's Whitetail is, I don't see why you're not even looking for it on the website right now. You can look for them on their website at loweswhitetail.com, or you can go to northernviewoutdoors.com and visit our sponsor page where you can find the link for Lowe's Whitetail on there as well. So don't forget, I mean, Lowe's Whitetail is actually vacuum sealing these scents now, so it prolongs the life of the scent for actually 3 years. It's been tested up to 3 years. So in other words, you can buy 2 or 3, use 1 year. You can save the other stuff. I mean, you don't have to use it right away. But I tell you what, if you use these things, you're going to see a lot more deer. If you want to see a lot more deer, you got to smell like a deer.